2 is the voice.
Yes, you now live.
Welcome our viewers. This is writer motivational speaker Natukwasa Lindon. I welcome you and I humbly apologize for today that we have come so late. Like I've been promising you, and thanks so much for waiting, our guest speaker, our human resource consultant, and we have a lot to share today. Just be ready. We are welcoming him, Mr. Emmanuel Okia. You are very welcome to our powerful live stream where we inspire people, we motivate them to achieve their dreams. You know, everyone has a dream and they want to see their dreams come true. So thanks for joining us. You can invite a friend, and technology has grown, and we are so glad that you, without any hassle, without visiting your church, your school, and institution and office, you can watch us at your comfort and share these videos. So you can introduce yourself before we open our today's topic, performance management, our part 1. And so you can talk to them and introduce them what you do, and before they hear your powerful message of today. You're welcome so much, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much, Lindon. My name is Emmanuel Okia. I'm HR consultant. Over the years, I've been doing HR work. This is like the 8th year, and I'm passionate about performance management. This is an area where organizations struggle, individuals and entrepreneurs as well. So you're most welcome, viewers. Let a friend get to know, invite him as we try to dissect what discovering yourself as far as performance management is concerned.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I hope everyone, you talked about entrepreneurs and organizations, they have challenges. But the entrepreneurs and organizations and the companies you're running, the people we employ, the people who are employed there. And we looked at all these self-discovery stories we have been doing. We have looked at the point that once you discover yourself and make your dreams come true, those organizations can thrive. If you're an entrepreneur, whatever you start can very grow big and grow into generations. So as we start our performance management part 1, let's look at part 1. You could open them. How can someone in HR or someone under HR discover themselves under setting quantifiable goals, targets, and objectives in the road of self-discovery?
Yes, powerful. Let me begin by saying that every organization, individuals, institutions, and companies seek for excellence. But they can only arrive at a point of excellence after perfecting performance management.
Wow.
Having said that, this is performance part 1, performance management part 1. And we are going to handle the basics. As we grow deeper, we shall be diving into the cores of performance management in the subsequent presentations that we are going to make. Yeah. So specifically, as he has spoken of, we are going to focus on how to set goals. We shall also focus on how do you develop a SMART objective or SMART principle, understanding a SMART principle. And then we shall be looking at monitoring and feedback process as the 3 first core areas. So the first one is developing quantifiable goals.
Wow. So as someone who's at the time we're preparing this presentation,
yes.
First of all, before we get more deeper into these topics, we need to get someone to understand. For example, there's some people who are now looking for jobs. There are people who have just got jobs, and there are people actually who have been working for many years. And there are those ones, entrepreneurs who started their businesses, others haven't started. So as you're going to talk about the first topic, how can they set quantifiable goals in order to discover themselves? You can brief them briefly on that.
Yes, quantifiable goals, or I would also say people have worked for long and results are not being seen. Out of the 190 trainings rolled, how have these trainings impacted? So the impact evaluation sessions or assessments, do you also include in your setting the goals? So a goal that can yield result and produce and result into performance of an institution must have figures in it.
Yeah, thanks so much. So before we move to the second point, you talked about figures, which is important, but you first briefly explain to them figures in terms of money, in terms of income, in terms of I don't know, the results. There are some figures according to performance as well. Then there are also figures in terms of money, output, income. Remember, they get salaries. Others are CEOs, they just give out salaries. Then they look into profit of their investment. So we need to know much more about figures now.
Powerful. The figures in this context is looking at what you are expected to deliver in an institution, if you're working in an institution or in an organization. And then figures in this context also, if you're an entrepreneur, is what do you want to achieve, let's say in 5 months? Is it translated into figures? So having plans that are paragraphs or worded things will not yield result. So the figures here is translating what you're supposed to do into figures.
Wow. This is amazing. Actually, this one challenged me some time back, even recently, but you know, life is kind of a puzzle. Like, you need to understand it. As we say, this time we need to discover ourselves and get real with it. Get real with it, with growing with our careers. We are out of this thing, man. Yeah, it's disturbed. And so, you see, transforming what you're trying to do in figures and see how you can move forward. Of course, everyone wants excellence, like we began, and no one wants to stay stagnant. Everyone wants to grow. So let's look at point number 2, understanding the SMART principle. How can someone in human resource? Because this time we dealt with CEOs, we've dealt with writers, we've dealt with speakers, we've dealt with other things. But right now we're here at human resource. So how can you help them, like inspire them in understanding the SMART principle to discover them to their excellence?
Yes, powerful. Now we are moving down from quantifying objectives to understanding a SMART principle. Now, SMART principle means S is being specific, M is being measurable, and then A is achievable or attainable, and then R is realistic, and then time bound. So we are trying to say that once you've quantified your objective, you now know you've translated your target into an objective. You now begin to ask yourself, what is a time frame? For example, if you're saying you are a nursery teacher or you are a teacher in a school, how many lessons are you going to conduct in a specific term? So by the end of the term, that is a time frame that we are interested in measuring you. So that is a time bound, as SMART speaks. Now, being specific, many people always do things, you don't know what you want to do. So you need to define what you want to do. That is the meaning of the specific. And then it has to be measurable. How can we measure? If you're saying you are an IT person who deals in applications, who develops applications, how can we measure by let's say by the end of 5 months, how many applications have you developed? So you tag that kind of measure to your objective. Then when we are talking about attainable, please, supervisors, CEOs, managers, and even the owners of businesses, set the targets for your employees which are realistic, which you know that they can be achieved.
Wow.
Yes. And then the realistic part of it, depending on where you're working, be realistic. How is what you're doing probably changing communities, impacting a certain society? That is the realistic aspect of it.
Wow.
So once your objective is blended with the quantification and then understanding the smart aspect, it is a guarantee that your organization will excel.
Wow, thank you so much. So thanks for that beautiful content. And right now you talked about something very powerful in some of that point that it depends some people what you want to do. Yeah, recently sharing on our platforms, WhatsApp and Facebook, that you choose what you want to do in life and go do it and go get it no matter what, because the validity is what you want. Do you know it? That's the validity you know you need after knowing that I have the validity, and that validity is choosing what you do.
True.
And you say that we need to tell our viewers that once you choose what you want and where you work, like you said, or your impact to the community, that's the same thing that drives you to understand performance management with a SMART principle. Yeah. Thirdly, before we take a break right here, we need to take a break as I send you here your book copy. Actually, since we are having one session right away, we should just have a break when I send you your book copy and share some few things. Then we can continue to our next 3 points that we want to share today. And we know many of you are watching, but we need to have something to you that you are free to drop any comments, because the good news is that very soon we are opening our studio, our live streaming in-house studio. We are opening up our inspirational television. We're opening up a website where anytime you can post what you need, get these articles. You know this time I've been busy writing and I've not been actually getting these articles except from live streams and some few things I share. But let's look at the feedback process. You talked about feedback process, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Whenever I do something, I have to have some feedback thing, and these people in HR, they need to understand: are you an employee, an employer? How is feedback affecting? Yeah, it's a big point.
Yeah, having looked at the 3 areas, we have quantified our objectives. We have also developed our objectives smartly. Now we are ready to go. That means when you begin to implement your objectives, this specifically goes to supervisory positions. If you're supervising people, if you're a businessman and you have people that report to you, feedback sessions are very, very key to performance.
Exactly.
And you can actually segment them and say, we have developed these objectives. This is the 1st of June, for example. So you can say after every 2 weeks we are sitting and then we share how are we pushing on. The advantage of feedback is it helps staff, it helps your employees to bond with you, because there is that communication always. And then you are giving them honest feedback. For example, if you're supervising Emma, for example, so maybe a month down the road, we sit down and you're saying, Emma, the way you are doing your work, I see that there is a weakness in this area, or there is a performance challenge in this area that you need to avoid. And as a supervisor, you are then now expected to handhold. We call it handholding Emma, having identified this performance challenge.
Exactly.
To what extent can I handhold Emma so that he's able to bridge this performance gap? So the frequency of the feedback sessions leads to perfection in performance. I am really against this kind of supervisors who say, once we have set the targets, once we have set the objectives, I will see you at the end of the year. That is a real challenge that I feel if we want to see results come out of our employees, and even you yourself, continuous feedback to yourself and then seeking for feedback from your supervisor remains key.
Well, thanks so much. Most of the things that I passed through from my past working experience, some of this time, there's a point where I've looked at my life. That's why I said I should dedicate my life to researching on self-discovery, teaching other people, inspiring them. All my life I was looking at myself, but at 20 years, when I was at university, actually, I think 5 years back, because now I'm in early 25, and I discovered that 20 years I was living in bondage. 20 years I had not discovered what can I do, what do I want. I had not discovered my placement. So 5 years back I said no, I think I should make a change. Actually, I just want to teach many people that most of the times it seems easy to give up on a dream, but the biggest regret is when you look back and you look at the dream that you gave up about.
Yeah,
so that's the thing that comes up with feedback. I really had to review.
Yeah.
I gave myself feedback, looked at this one and see how they could work. So that's general how I was giving like real life example, clearly your point that if organizations want to grow, entrepreneurs want to grow, your career grow, your family and everything, always look at give feedback and also give feedback and see how will it affect the one I've given it to it, and give yourself the feedback. Yeah, so thank you so much. And you be just looking at your gift book. I want to sign to our guest speaker right here, and you could be looking at it, and as I just trying to show them our upcoming event. And so like I always tell you, this is our upcoming self-discovery, our first one, 2018, live at Serena Hotel, and we have many CEOs here, we have many guest speakers, and the tickets are only 100,000, and they are going out. Actually, people are getting them, and actually they are getting done, and I just have few ones remaining in here, so you could just make a call or drop or inbox. I just call you. This one I just deliver them out this week. By Wednesday they will be done, so you better inbox or inform us. We need a ticket attend first self-discovery event. And just before we open up our second session, this is actually this book. This is our best-selling book right here. As our guest, as I can show you, this is 7 days of Ghost Setting. Goes for 10,000 shillings, and it's like you talked about some of the things, and I can see them here. It has smart goals here. They are here, and they share much more with your colleagues. Yeah, thanks so much. Then I was looking at is the point review. Yeah, actual review. It's here. So when you're talking about them, then I remember I just put them in the book some point. And so the point of review and feedback, they're almost the same. And review here, I wrote and said, make it part of your day to review your goals and take action. This keeps your goal alive and on top of your mind. Actually, with review and feedback, it starts with a daily.
Yeah.
You talked of monthly, mid-monthly, quarterly, and the full year.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you go through details, to go through starting with a daily.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, a daily one. Yeah. So thanks so much for being here, and I can just have to assign it to you right now.
Powerful. I'm so glad to have this.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much for really inspiring us,
and I now learn a lot as well in this.
And giving us your wisdom. Yeah. So Saturday. So thanks so much for coming over here.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
Bless you too.
Yeah. So as we welcome back to our second session, after signing him or the gift book, because when someone gives you time, you have to appreciate. Yeah. Of course, you have to appreciate. Now as well, our second session talked about performance review. Yeah. Performance management, part 1. Yeah.
Yes, though feedback and review tend to be the same, but feedback session, just as you've highlighted it, you can choose to do it on daily basis.
Yeah, wow.
And while you're doing feedback on daily basis, one, your employees sometimes have not yet built confidence. Then there are those who are probably there's a communication issue. They are not so free with you. So when you perfect your feedback sessions on daily basis, weekly basis, they are able to bond with you, they are able to be more productive, and they are able to own the business, and they are able to deliver even in your absence. And once that happens, you just have to smile and say, my feedback sessions are working.
Yeah.
Now, that is a slight difference with the feedback, the review. The review now is when you as a supervisor and a supervisee sit down, which can either be quarterly basis or can be half-year basis, where you sit down just the way we are seated here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're able to say, now, Emma, we set these objectives, we set our targets when the year began. Can we sit and see what has challenged you, what you've excelled in, and then what can we do? So let's say, for example, when the year began, you had set targets or goals that are probably 5. Now, at the end of the 4 months, you're sitting down, and your supervisor is asking and saying, how did you work on target 1? How did you work on target 2 until they are all 5? So you're able to bring out what went well and what challenged you. And then in the review process, again, you're now able to say, let's scale down these objectives probably to 3 in the event that the 5 did not go on well. But in the event that the 5, when you've reviewed and all your performance is up to standard, then you begin to look at ways of becoming consistent.
Exactly.
You explore avenues, and your supervisor is able to say, since you've been able to achieve all of them, what are the ways of us making this performance consistent? So the essence of review is to allow you see the areas to improve, the areas to become consistent in, and the areas that you may even need to cut off if they are affecting performance.
Wow. That one has really fired me up even.
Yeah.
So that's a dream actually, as the HRs are under organizations, HRs under CEOs of different institutions, even government institutions. It's something you see that I really noticed, that once people are able to own a vision or own the work and the feedback works out well, then you sit back and smile, of course.
Yeah.
There's no much more big deal against that. And I think that's a dream of everyone, to draw. Discover yourself and have a dream come true.
Yeah.
Nothing much more beautiful than that. So the second last is measuring performance against values. That one, what I like so much most. How can we reach out to that?
Yeah. Now, measuring performance against values, we always say that it's a skill plus character fit. When you add a skill
Plus.
See,
that's the key point.
yes,
A skill
yes,
plus
character fit.
Yeah,
Or you can say, to what extent is your character fit?
Wow.
Or how are you blending the skill with the character? Now, these are the challenges we find. In the event that an individual or a staff or employee anywhere is skillful without the character bit of it, that specific staff will struggle as far as climbing into leadership positions. This is very, very key for you who are opting for leadership positions.
Wow.
So, in the beginning, maybe, as we are saying that this is we are beginning, this is part 1, performance management part 1, but in phase 2 we shall be digesting the nitty-gritties of work culture. But specifically here, we are saying measure your employees on all sides. We have discussed about operational objectives.
Kind of, balance makes things much more easy and
Yes.
the same line.
True. So we are in the values. Let's say an organization X has 3 values, probably integrity, inclusiveness, innovation. We are also saying that quantify these values, where you will pick integrity and say what are the attributes of integrity, and probably you will say one of the attributes of integrity is being honest and trustworthy. So you have to measure honesty and trustworthy of your employees. How do you measure the trust and honesty of your employees? We shall be expecting the behavioral examples that a staff shows. So this specifically, we shall digest it in phase 2, so that I may not avoid, I try to avoid pumping you with a lot of information.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing. And so I think they can see how balancing with the character and the skill fit, this thing it makes you firm amid this adversity and challenges. Trying to get those results and trying to discover yourself and coming out and managing performance management. This is something I was saying. I look back, imagine you're 20 years and wake up in the morning and say, where has 20 years gone? I've been to school, I've been to university, I've been struggling, I've been toiling. What? How? I mean, I don't know how I can explain. That was my story 5 years back when I changed my mindset. I said, I choose this one, I choose to write, and I'm going for it. Then I haven't looked at something like someone with 30 and hasn't worked out of this performance management, someone who's 40 years. No, we are sharing about someone. You told me a story of someone who was working with UBC and he was 57 years and was saying he wanted to write a book, and 57 years was forwarding a dream, and I was talking about these other book projects that are upcoming, and it's amazing. But I think everyone should wake up this call of self-discovery. Otherwise, most people spend the whole of their lives like he has never seen a joy of his results, has never seen any how can I say, any harvest, has never seen. Have you ever seen any joy of your harvest and you say like, wow, I did this one, now I feel good right now? Have you ever seen it?
Maybe if I can interject on that, every individual on the planet Earth has a dream, has a revelation.
Exactly.
And if we are to tell each of them to record, they would have huge books bigger than the Bible of revelations. But when you look at that huge book and say, to what extent have you implemented any? I believe most of them would even say, I don't have an idea of what you're talking about. So that is the area we are trying to drive individuals, everyone to, that let's take an action. And if we are to take an action, we must understand the performance process.
Wow. Actually, in the road of self-discovery, performance is just a train. Because once you discover yourself, big things must happen. Things must happen in your life, and results come out of performance. When you used to perform in exams, performance used to determine, have you gotten A? Have you gotten F? So it determines the grade right now.
True. Very true.
So man, thanks so much, and I hope part 2 is going to be much more hot, and I feel fired up by your content. It's really amazing, and thanks so much. And the last part, the last one I love most, you brought it actually, the last was like, wow, development plan. Which the desire have, everyone who has woken up to the campaign of self-discovery, how to turn these ideas to reality, the development plan. I think they need them.
Yeah, true. Everyone aspires to develop. That is a fact. But many times we tend to misfire and fail to develop because we do not know what it entails.
Misfiring.
Now, this development plan, I will explain it in 2 in two dimensions. As an organization, you have employees who have development aspirations, and you also have employees who do not know where they are going. So in the context of organizations, in the context of CEOs, in the context of supervisors, your staff or your employees need to develop. So you help them see their career aspirations. 5 years from now, where do I want to be? Right? And then you also help them know, or you help to develop them by saying, what challenges Emma? To what extent can I help him to grow?
So let's look at that before
Yes.
we continue. What challenges? You said what?
What challenges me?
And
Yeah, this is how I expect a supervisor to speak. If you're supervising Emma, you'll be saying that what challenges Emma? To what extent me as a supervisor can I be of help?
wow, yeah.
So that when you satisfy or when you're able to address Emma's performance challenge, you are developing him, and it means you have a plan.
Yeah.
And those challenges that challenge Emma are actually helping you address the performance issues, either of a department, either of a business where Emma is in. So for today's session, what the package I want you to go with as far as development plan is looking at the career aspirations 5 years down the road. How will this person be? What does he want to do? And then in the time he's in this organization, what should be done to help him address his performance challenges or areas, the targets goes out of 5 targets, maybe 3 challenge him. What are you going to do as a supervisor to help him achieve?
Wow.
Yes.
So that's beautiful, and this part 1 session actually has left me wanting more. And as you know that this world is kind of like a puzzle. That's how I do it. And we just extend our, actually we are sorry, and it's amazing that you want to bear with us, and thanks for giving us time for really having one session. It was power packed, and thanks so much for trying and delivering. Instead of a never giver, anyone would have said, yeah, it's okay, let's give up, and people are waiting for us, and they should catch part 2 actually, which will be very planned well, and we shall have more time actually. If we would have started actually at 3 like we had promised, it would be more powerful. And thanks so much. So like you said on the development plan, or in your finishing remarks, for the viewers, what can you say about developing remarks, then something to inspire them, maybe about your life, maybe about someone's life?
Yes, as I conclude, let me communicate this way. I specialize in organizational development. I also specialize in work culture, and then I specialize in performance management. That said, I began my journey 8 years ago as far as this profession is concerned, and my dream, I know where I am actually heading.
Wow.
So if you're seated down there or you're somewhere and wondering how life is going to be, but life to be what you want it to be begins with you.
Exactly.
And begins small. You need to sit down and ask yourself, these 2 gentlemen have delivered on performance management. What is that small thing that I can begin to do?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So begin small and keep growing. I think that is that for today. We have a lot for you, and we believe that the phase 2 will find you fresh and alive and kicking, and we shall be on.
Yeah, thanks so much. Before we finish up, we close up. He talked about something, saying that about something, start small, because a bigger empire could start with just one brick.
Yeah, true.
Every big empire start with one brick.
Yes.
So it can start today with hearing some part of his content. He's talked about being in HR, being an employee, things are not going on well. Actually, others right now are seeking for resigning letters. You can stop that. You can improve yourself. Others are thinking of firing some employees. But don't give up, and don't give up on that employee. He can change.
Yeah, true.
And that's why we say we have come out. We have come out to you that these things work. These dreams come true. Those people are going to fire. You never know. They can change the whole thing. You're seeking for a resignation later, but you can end up becoming a turning point for a company, an organization. So here there's something unrelated to your topic. Thanks so much for actually. I asked him for the topics to talk about. I didn't, like other speakers, they bring more topics we choose, but he gave me the first one, performance management. I gave it 100. I say, let's rock with this.
Wow.
So I want to add on a point, just a few things here. You know, people have they have the fear of success.
Yeah.
So I had some few things of them of this book I'm editing, like Break Your Limitations, one of the manuscripts I'm having, and people have the fear for success. Do you know that?
True.
They fear.
Very
And
true.
I felt this morning we could inspire them a little bit of these upcoming words of wisdom, so that before the book comes, at least you know something. And there's something that says that while the fear of failure is a clear reason why many of us avoid pursuing our goals, there is another fear that is often harder to recognize, the fear of success.
Wow.
Do you know that? Do you know that there's a fear of success?
Take me through.
But have you ever heard of it? Do you know that people fear success?
Yes, they do. They do.
Some people yearn for, like all of us fear to fail.
True.
But you know that there are people who fear
Yeah,
to succeed.
yes, they are there.
So I just want to list here just few reasons, just one. People fear success because they lack of belief in themselves.
True.
They don't believe in themselves.
True.
So believe in yourself.
True.
Number two is fear of increased responsibility.
Yeah.
So when you start on a dream and actually and responsibilities increase, then someone say, I'm quitting here now. A book project spiral up and someone, you know, someone just quit, be like, I can't handle this. Then number three is low self-worth, actually. Low self-worth. I told you how I struggled 20 years with low self-worth. And that's why right now I'm driven up till the end of me that I must reach out to millions of people. I tell them that once you change, remember, 20 years, that's what really inspires me.
True.
Low self-esteem. Remember, I studied in class, had good grades, and I was doing better. I never knew me as a better friend, but inside of me. So I think I should have started at 15 or 14 maybe or something. But at when I was waking up. So my friend, how old are you? And have you discovered yourself? Have you come to know about the thing? Or still fearing success? Then the second last is worries about what others will think. What will others think when I come out and I chase this dream? So the last point is general negative expectations. So you may not have any identifiable fears about success, but rather experience a general sense of uneasiness or resistance to it. You might simply be afraid of unknown, pessimistic about the longevity of your success. So we want to tell you that once you come out and say, I'm starting with me, things start happening. So thanks so much. Next time I'm coming up with diversity, coming up with a book called Dig That Gold. And you're having Honorable MP Okia is coming from the African Parliament. Then we are having our guest again. He has a lot of wisdom, man. Thanks for inspiring me, and I can't wait to have you back again. And thank you so much. Be inspired and motivated. Dreams come true. Yeah.